songs of joy, a special time for every girl and boy.
We all know lost media is interesting. I'm guessing you wouldn't be on this channel if you felt differently. There's something inherently fascinating and sort of enticing about something that people know about, but no one can see or hear. And you know how we humans are. We hate being told we're not able to do something more than anything else. But what about cases where the opposite is true? They aren't lost, instead we have the piece of media, we just don't know where it came from or what it actually is. Admittedly, these cases are a lot more rare because for something to be known but people aren't able to figure out what it is or where it came from, it has to be something pretty obscure, at least most of the time. So today, starting off with some of the biggest internet mysteries around, which you've probably heard of, and getting to the downright obscure later down the list, some of which have, since this iceberg was created, been identified, we're going to jump into the unidentified media iceberg. Tier 1. The most mysterious song on the internet. There are at least two candidates for the most mysterious song on the internet, although as of recent one of them was found, although it still appears here later on down the list. This one though remains lost, at least in terms of its origins, even after the full version of the song was located. The exact date it was recorded is unknown, or even where the song originated geographically, although it was recorded on a German radio station between the years of 1982 and 1984. However, not much else has been gleaned from the song, other than that it possibly uses a Yamaha DX7 synth in the chorus and a preset called Synth Lead, which was released in 1983, possibly dating the song to that year or later. The song continues to be a mystery, despite garnering over 8 million views on just this upload alone. The Butcher. This here is a really interesting one. Pretty much most of these are, as you've come to expect, but this is actually a purported Nickelodeon live-action short film featuring puppets from the early 2000s, possibly 2001. Its existence as a whole is unconfirmed, and its name is even disputed, but it is known as The Butcher, a pretty ominous name given it was allegedly aired on Nickelodeon between 2001 and 2004, at least according to a Reddit user named DeadUser00, who inquired about the film on the r/tip-of-my-tongue subreddit, describing it as a dark short film shot in black and white, featuring various puppets of animals using real bones, such as of cats and dogs, birds, and the like, which sounds pretty, disturbing for something seen by children. This image is one used to describe what was in the film. The user has since gone on to clarify that he believes the film has actually been found in the form of Butcher's Creek, which does feature a lot of bones and dead animals, but varies in numerous details. Such as it not being in black and white, for example, and from the looks of it, I just don't think in any way this could have aired on Nickelodeon as he says, so it's possible this is all just a hoax or he saw this film on a different channel or something. Celebrity number 6. Another really big internet mystery. I thought about making a whole video on this topic, but many have done so and covered the entire saga already. The basics here is that a user on the r/movies subreddit created a seemingly random post asking about some fabric curtains they had, which had a bunch of actors and movie stars on them, linking some of the actors to specific photos which are clearly referenced, although one of them wasn't easily identifiable and has become a huge mystery online. That of what is now known as celebrity number 6, this person here. The other 8 were obvious and easy to find, but this one not so much. Despite the person looking fairly familiar, although the person here looks sort of androgynous, so it's hard to tell the gender of this person, much less exactly who they are and what picture this is actually based on, although there are theories, such as this possibly being Sienna Miller, Brad Pitt, Kristen Stewart, River Phoenix, Philippa Hamilton, or Roger Garth, 2 of which actually believe they are celebrity number 6. However, we can't confirm anything yet as we still don't have the original image it is based on. Everyone knows that. Recently, this has been one of the biggest lost media cases, and one that was actually also recently found. The story has been told a bunch of times with a lot of leads and theories along the way, but I'll just give a brief summary of the whole situation. Basically, in 2021, a user named Carl92 found a clip of an old song he had recorded a long time ago, possibly from the 80s, and no one knew what the song was, who created it, or where it had come from. Well, that's how it seemed initially. Either way, the search for this seemingly lost song completely blew up, with there being subreddits made and online discussions, all trying to find its origin. At this time, it was known as Everyone Knows That, which was the title he attached to it in his original post on What's That Song. He also said in the post and further replies that it was likely from the 80s and was found among his old files, and possibly came from a DVD backup. It would later turn out Everyone Knows That, also called EKT, was found in a rather unexpected place. It was found in an 80s adult film called Angels of Passion from 1986, and was actually titled Ulterior Motives by Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth. It turns out the original poster did know of its origins. This is how he had found the song, and just apparently figured it was so obscure no one else would be able to find it, or didn't want to admit what he was watching when he heard it, and thought it might have existed outside of this adult film possibly. I'm sure he didn't think anyone else would sit through an hour of a vintage Korn film to find this song. Well, he was wrong. Never underestimate the internet in tracking down random stuff online. Jeff the Killer original image. This is another big one, but one I've discussed many times at length at this point, and I'm sure you've seen plenty of other YouTubers talk about it as well, so I'll just give a basic rundown. This is the iconic image of one of the most well-known creepypastas, associated mostly with the story, although it's not actually where it comes from, and in fact this is a heavily edited image of unknown origins. There were several leads and even some rumors and hoaxes along the way, such as it being of a woman who was allegedly bullied until she committed suicide, although this theory ended up being disproven. An earlier version was found on a Japanese site dated November 2005, but this again wasn't the original image, just an earlier version it seems. Another more recent lead was of a Japanese woman named Mariko, who has certain images which appear to somewhat resemble the subject in the Jeff image, although no original photo of origin has been found as of yet. Backrooms image origin. This is honestly one of the biggest lost media discoveries in recent memory. The backrooms have become an absolutely massive internet urban legend originating from a image on 4chan, alongside this text. You know, the classic paragraph creepypasta about no clipping out of reality and ending up in this mysterious liminal space, which many have speculated on as to its true origins, such as it possibly being an abandoned hotel or office or something like that. Well, we no longer have to theorize because this year on May 29th, a user here on Twitter posted, quote, "My friend found the backrooms location, it's in Wisconsin and these pics are from 2003, giving a secondary image of the location. Now I'm just waiting on that JTK original image." Tier 2. Kenya, Filthy Frank song. Once again, this is a piece of lost media which wasn't lost for very long, as fans of Filthy Frank were able to track it down extremely fast. Well, at least that is the case after a video was created by NB Duckman, as the song would be found a day later. But before this, the song had apparently been lost for 16 years. Essentially, in one of his earlier videos titled How to Pick Up Women in 30 Different Cultures, for a brief moment during the Kenya segment, Filthy Frank plays a short audio clip from what seems to be African gospel music, a track of unknown origins. However, as I said, hilariously enough, not even a day after NB Duckman posts his video on this topic, it's found by someone in his Discord, titled Katonda Alinawe, Ugandan Gospel Music, 2011, Africa. Low budget religious kids show, Family International. This all originates from a Reddit post on Tip of My Tongue where user NoNameGal999 posts about a creepy religious kids show, possibly from the late 80s or early 90s, that was made from a cult they had escaped from. The post reads, quote, "I know this title sounds clickbaity, but I assure you every word of it is true and what I'm describing is real. I just know it is." Some background. The cult in question is called the Family International, or TFI. I grew up in Huntington Beach, which funnily enough is where the culture started. I was born into it with my parents still remaining members to this day, their start dates for the cult as of now being unknown. What I know for a fact, the show followed a sheep, possibly named something biblical as they encountered problems. The show was in the style of Sesame Street, with puppets and actors with small animated segments. Standard kids show affairs, right? Well, the problems encountered dove into disturbing subject matter. One segment I recall had the sheep talking to a little boy who said he wanted to, quote, serve Jesus in all ways he could, with the sheep saying the little boy should, quote, give his body to the church, with an animated Jesus standing next to what I recall being children wearing little clothing. The show, from what I remember, appeared to have been made in the 80s, judging by the camera quality, but I grew up in the 90s and saw these at only 4 years old, so that puts us at 1994 for my earliest recollection of it. Some of the kids within our group were born in the 80s, and they had seen these too, so that puts a possible start date as late as 1985 to 1989, but I could be wrong. The show came on VHS and we had hundreds stored away on church property. If these prove the existence of hundreds of episodes or just means there are multiple copies of the same episode is unknown. My theories. Information is likely scarce for two reasons. Either it's been scrubbed to save reputation, or was produced by the cult with no release outside it, so obviously no documentation. I also believe that the actress who voiced the sheep was a gospel singer who sang in numerous videos for the cult dating back to the 70s, which also leads me to believe it may have had musical segments. Children within the cult may have also been used for the production as well. I intend to update as new information is found, and I thank everyone who takes the time to read and help the search. Edit 1. The show Treasure Attic got brought up a lot, and while similar, it's not what I'm referring to. I'm led to believe multiple shows were produced, and a production studio even being found tied to the cult could be the key to finding this. The more overt nature of it could have been why there's almost no mention of it. Edit 2. It's also likely this was made by a different studio and just bought by the TFI. That would explain the differing from their other videos as well as the lack of info. Edit 3. So around 2 days ago, I had attempted to contact an ex-member asking if they recalled this too, and while they said they didn't, they did state they recall similar shows with very disturbing material. Another user chimed in asking about a show called The Lovitz, which the OP responded saying that it wasn't it, but it was similar, although the puppets were different. The Lovitz was an 80s puppet show from the Family International, created and produced in the Philippines. Then there's another show called Treasure Attic, another puppet program that also heavily featured sheep puppets, although OP said that this wasn't it either, despite it being connected to the cult and seemingly sharing a lot of details with the description in the post. However, it seems the cult produced a lot of different children's programs, so I'm sure there are still some out there which are currently obscure and lost. Fond My Mind. Fond My Mind is another song with lost origins, a lost wave track thought to be from the 80s again, and started going around as a snippet of a song that no one knew. Eventually though, a full song was eventually discovered, and it was identified as a song by Brazilian duo Andrew Nobrega and Eddie Edmond called Station K, with the song being titled Feels Like a Wish, which was uploaded in full to YouTube on December 19th, 2023 by Edmond himself. Cartoon dog unidentified image. Here we've got another post on tip of my tongue, a post titled, "Can anyone identify this cartoon dog?" Quote, "My friend and I have been trying to identify this dog for ages. We have a piece of fabric from either pajamas or maybe a pillowcase. We have very little information. It seems vaguely familiar from either branding, a cartoon or comic between the 2000s or the 90s. It might just be one of those generic dog designs that's similar to the cartoon design of the time, and we're having false memories, but I'd love to know what your take on it is. Update. So I have a little more information for you guys. The fabric turned out to be part of a t-shirt. My friend is French, so there's a chance this could be a lesser known French character with a quote-unquote Rocco character design. I'll be talking to them later today to find out if there's a label and if they can get any more info. Update 2. We have a label and a larger picture. I've contacted the clothing shop from the label and I'm currently awaiting a reply. From the looks of the larger picture, I think we may have solved this mystery. In my own opinion, and from a few theories suggested, this may be a case of false memories due to the vast number of characters that share the same graphic style and features as our mystery dog. Once I hear back from the shop and if they're able to confirm this theory, we can chalk this down to being a generic dog design made purely to see their clothing as a quirky design. Thank you all for your tireless efforts, and I'll be sure to mark this as solved as soon as I get confirmation. However, beyond this, we do not have any confirmations, only theories in the comments. Suggestions like Rocco's Modern Life, Wishbone, Doug, or the family dog. Some even suggested that it could be a version of the Target dog. All pretty good guesses, but we just don't know for sure. It could also be a 90s food mascot for what looks like to be a bull terrier, but that's about all we have to go on with this one. A dying Redditor's lost song. Our next story is a really sad one. I'm sure you can guess why by the title. This comes from a Reddit user named GlitteringCraft207 who posted the following. I'm dying. As my last mission, I will be hunting down and saving as much music from obscurity as possible. But there is one song I want more than the rest. So yeah, as the title said, I'm dying. 13 days ago, I received the news that I had an inoperable tumor in my spine and was given a timeline of 6 months to a year to live. As you can imagine, that pretty much changed my entire worldview overnight. In the days since then, I've thought a lot about what I can leave behind to make the world a little better or more interesting. I didn't accomplish much while I was here, including accumulating any significant amount of money to leave behind. But there are many things more precious than money, and I've always thought music was one of those things. As part of my mission, I will be doing things like reaching out to radio stations and YouTube channels that deal in all things obscure. For example, DC 101 used to play this really awesome program back in the day called Local Links. The odds that they saved any of this music are pretty low, and I'll be lucky if I even manage to reach anyone, but I'm going to do my damnedest. That brings me to my next point. For 4 years I've been haunted by this song and always sort of figured we'd cross paths again someday, but that has not yet happened. It genuinely pains me that I could die without ever figuring out what this song is and hearing it again. Even more painful is the thought that it may already be lost to obscurity and no one will ever hear it again. But this post will still be here after I'm gone, so hopefully someday someone will find it and they can post it in my memory. Okay, here is everything I know about the song, which is not much. Male singer, heard sometime between February 9th and 14th, 2018. Between 9 and 11 in the morning on KXT Denton. Since I only caught the tail end of the song, maybe the last minute and a half, I only managed to write down these few lyrics. To try for anything, I couldn't stomach things. It just keeps getting worse. The user would later post their reenactment of the song.
To try for anything, I couldn't stomach things. It just kept getting worse.
Unfortunately, despite a few promising leads, it seems the song still hasn't been found, and with the user inactive on Reddit, we have no real way of confirming it, even if it is found. A really sad story all around. Tier 3. Light the Lanterns. Here we have another piece of Lost Wave media, a folk rock track said to be from 1985, known as Light the Lanterns, or alternatively, Illumination Night, which was found on a cassette tape but has not been positively identified, despite the full song being uploaded to YouTube. A lot of people in the comments of this video though hold out hope that it will one day be discovered, given that EKT, Fond My Mind, and others didn't end up being found. So for this, it's probably only a matter of time. The Blue Chin Guy. Here we've got an interesting one because this is a personal piece of lost media from YouTuber Kylie Bogley, who also makes videos on topics such as these, and ended up making these videos on EKT, which really blew up. Great videos, you should check them out. But this piece of media is a video she dubbed the Blue Chin Guy, which she details the search for in a post on the r/lostmedia subreddit, as well as in a YouTube video. She describes it as a music video her mother had seen from the mid to late 80s in a tropical or desert setting, possibly Egyptian, with purple conjoined women, and a guy with a blue chin wearing a tall hat sitting on a throne, giving an unnerving smile to the camera. Despite many initially promising leads and going through many old music videos, it seems it is still unidentified, but check out her video on the topic if you want all the details. Fall of King. This seems to be a really obscure one with not much info on it that I could find, other than a video of the full song posted to the Lost Wave Finder YouTube channel. which calls it The Fall of the King or Fallen King, although the true title and artists behind it are unknown. It is possibly from the late 80s and recorded from a radio station in Cleveland, Ohio. Old cartoon/show unidentified character. Another Reddit post here from r/tip of my tongue. Like the title says, we've got an unidentified cartoon character, along with this blurry screenshot. Quote, "It was from an old cartoon, or used in the credits of any old cartoon from the early 2000s. I don't remember if this face was animated or not. This was shown for a split second in an old music video. It's been bugging me that I can't remember where it's from. People thought it looked like the art style of Courage the Cowardly Dog, or might have been an illustration of Rat Fink, but it seems this could be based on the work of cartoonist Ed Roth and his character Mr. Gasser, or at least inspired by his work, as the actual screenshot here is likely taken from the music video of Swavey in Paris by Tory Lanez and is actually a shot of graffiti art. Funny FBI warning. This here is actually a pretty interesting case because it's a YouTube video posted over 13 years ago, which is an FBI parody warning said to have been taken from a children's VHS tape. At least that's what the description says. Some in the comments claim to remember seeing this as well, someone saying they saw it on an old comedy tape, but there really isn't much else to go on with this. Tier 4. CIA Unknown Song. Again, we got a Lost Wave song from the 80s, said to have been recorded on a radio station called CFNY in Canada. The full track can be found uploaded to YouTube. It is sometimes referred to as CIA or the Battle Song. Creepy DS game. Another really interesting one here found on the Tip of My Joystick subreddit in a post by Olive Scab, who writes about his encounter with an unknown creepy DS game in the early 2000s. Quote, "Hi there. I remember when I was younger, probably around 7 or 8, I'm currently 18, my dad came home with one of those DS chips that allowed you to download a shit ton of games onto it for free. He went to a website, downloaded a bunch of games, probably like 100, and gave it to me. I had an absolute heyday with all of them, and the majority of the games were really light, stuff like Mario Basketball and Animal Crossing WW. There was this one stupid game though that haunted me so bad as a kid, and I have no recollection of its name. I remember the very beginning of it. The name of the company started with a C or a K for sure, and then a white screen appeared and there was a bone that slowly started dripping blood, all with a white background. I don't remember much about it after this because I was scared shitless, to be honest. I feel like the company was Konami, but when I searched for Konami horror DS games, all that came up pretty much was Dementium, and I'm pretty sure that's not what I'm looking for. I'm sorry for the lack of info, but if anybody has any sort of recollection on what I'm talking about, I'd be so happy. Olive. Edit, hi guys. So I uncovered some information that may be helpful, I hope. First off, I'll list off anything more I can remember once again. DS game for sure. I remember because it utilized both the top and bottom screens. I remember it not being in English, that's why it freaked me out so much. I'm guessing Japanese, but it could have been another language. I'm just assuming Japanese. I talked to my dad to see if he recalls like anything, even though it's a long shot. And with my help, we narrowed it down to the fact that it was most likely a game downloaded from the old BitTorrent site called ISOHunt. He said it was a similar site to the Pirate Bay, and since ISOHunt shut down in 2013, and I know this game was before 2010, it all adds up. Plus I remember the name. It started with a white screen. The name of the company that started with a C or a K is likely to be Capcom or Konami because they're the most popular, I guess, but I'm not 110%. And last but not least, the game began showing some sort of bone dripping blood off of it. I remember the bone appeared at the top DS screen and dropped blood onto the bottom screen. I remember there may have been a floorboard, maybe the blood was dripping through the floorboard, and eventually after it showed drips there was dialogue, not in English. I remember it had eerie music, and that added to the freakiness. It took place inside a room, not outside. The game was not Ace Attorney, although they began very similarly. Besides that, we don't have much else to go on. This case is from over 4 years ago, and it seemed like the OP never found his answer, despite frequently updating this post. As some have suggested, it might have been an unofficial game, like some sort of homebrew game, but that remains unclear. Unknown Caterpillar Cartoon. Here we've got a case found on a post on the Lost Media Wiki forums about a cartoon a user recalls from their childhood, either from the 90s or the late 80s, about a caterpillar with animation similar to that of Caillou, with white vignette border backgrounds and characters that look similar to this screenshot. They also remember it being on a VHS tape. A few suggestions were the Mirthworms, the Glow Friends, the Very Hungry Caterpillar, or the Caterpillar and the Pollywog. But according to the OP, none of these look familiar. But from here, the discussions kind of die out, so it seems this one has still yet to be identified. Annoying Facebook Girl Image Origin. This was an early meme of this girl with her mouth open called the Annoying Facebook Girl, due to it often being paired with these really boomer captions like this one here. Yeah, the 2010s were something else. The original image this was taken from was eventually found though, being edited from this photo. Strange cartoon about a green man. We got another pretty detailed post on tip of my tongue recalling a 2000s cartoon they remembered watching as a kid that scared them. Quote, "When I was younger, probably the mid to late 2000s, I remember watching this short on Cartoon Network that really freaked me out. The characters and locations looked like they were made from clay, and it was animated using stop motion. It featured a small, green, nearly bald man who looked like a mix of a zombie and Igor. The man had strange, puckered lips and not many features. I don't exactly remember what happened, but I do remember 2 specific scenes. Mildly graphic. A scene where the man is eating wet, red guts and staring into the camera. I can't remember what they were from. A scene where the man is walking across a hill at night. There are stars in the sky and trees in the background. I also drew a few quick pictures of the man in these scenes here. I remember watching this animation late at night, but late at night is very subjective when you're young. I'm fairly certain I was watching Cartoon Network, which makes me think that maybe I stayed up late enough to watch it switch to Adult Swim. I wouldn't be surprised if this happened to be some weird experimental animation from then. Any help would be appreciated. I've been looking for this short for years now, and honestly at this point, I'm thinking it could have been a very strange dream or something. Edit. So an awesome poster mentioned this could be a short from the show Robot Chicken, since the animation style, era, and network all match up. I can't seem to find any clips from the show that resemble my memory, however, but it's possible it's out there since the show has made so many episodes. It's also possible it's not related to Robot Chicken at all, but this lead has made the most sense so far. Edit 2. So the current theory is that this may have been an Adult Swim bumper between shows. I found someone called Lee Hardcastle who makes disturbing clay animations and bumpers for Adult Swim. However, I cannot find any short of his that fits my description. I also want to thank you all again for the help. Some people have mentioned this could be Lost Media, and it's completely possible since other people seem to remember this character as well. I just want to clarify a few things. This is not Salad Fingers, Invader Zim, Mr. Meaty, or Gumby. The similarities are certainly there though, and I understand why they've been suggested. This was in the United States. This was on television 100%, as they didn't have internet access back then. I'm pretty sure this wasn't a show with multiple episodes, and I'm pretty sure it was animated with clay. I'm actually an animation major and am familiar with all sorts of obscure works, which is one of the reasons why this mystery is driving me so crazy. I've searched for this for years, but was still hoping and was sure this would be an easy find. I really thought I was just missing something obvious. I'll cross-post this to the Lost Media subreddit, and it's crazy to me that what I'm remembering could be something lost. I really thought I was just an idiot and the answer was obvious. I'm going off to bed, but thank you all again. I really hope we figured this out. After this, there are a few more edits and updates from the OP, but nothing concrete as far as an answer goes. They deny it being some sort of internet video like Salad Fingers or something like that, and some commenters even say they remember it as well, but the theories of it being Invader Zim, Robot Chicken, Gumby, or Bump in the Night seem to have not gone anywhere. Tier 5. ABC Unknown Children's Cartoons. Okay, so this is a pretty big one, as it concerns a lot of unidentified cartoons and segments found in a strange DVD by user SlamOnC4 on the Lost Media subreddit. In a very detailed post, they explain the following. Quote, "About a year and a half ago, I rediscovered my movie collection and was going through them. I was very unfortunately reminded of classics such as the B-Movie and Disney Princess Enchanted Tales Follow Your Dreams, and organizing them. Many pirated ones, and I found one of them with simply ABC in marker. Inside the DVD was a video, which I link here and here. This is what I'm going to talk about in this post. What is it? The context around a piece of unobtainable media is what you usually have to work from in this subreddit, isn't it? Well, here we have to find the context around this video and find out what it is. For those that don't want to leave the post, it's a compilation of nursery rhymes that are dubbed over unrelated cartoons, which is all well and good. The target audience is lazy mothers of toddlers who just like anything that is colorful and moves. Usually you find one of these and throw it in the trash when you don't need it, to be forever forgotten. However, I post here because there's one little quirk. What are the unrelated cartoons? These aren't just random Mickey Mouse cartoons everyone can recognize. They're quite bizarre and obscure. They might even be lost media itself, only surviving through some bootleg. Who knows? Before you ask, no, this isn't an attempt at a creepypasta. In fact, one of my friends found a playlist with the exact same content right here from all the way back in 2011, 12 years ago. Time flies, doesn't it? Which proves I didn't make this. However, it's no closer to getting us to our goal of identifying the content. Who made this? This isn't actually relevant to the search. However, I don't want anyone to reinvent the wheel in the comments section, so I'm sharing everything I know surrounding it. The start of the video starts with Kitty Song's SRVCD 28074, which gives us a clue as to who originally distributed the DVD. SRVCD is a code given to DVDs distributed by the company Spectrum Musical Productions, a Malaysian company that made children's content in both English and Chinese. Do they exist anymore? Nope. Would they remember if they did? Nope. So that's a dead end. They further list these as the currently identified sections. It seems that only a few other additional segments were positively identified before the post was archived. This woman with cat-winged glasses and big bun on her head. Once again on r/tip of my tongue we have this post. Cartoon/animated movie. This woman with cat-winged glasses and big bun on her head has bat wings from the 90s, early 2000s, image included. Find this woman. Other than that title, there isn't much additional context. Although there is a similar post on What Is This Thing asking about the same image. Many people on both posts think she looks familiar, and a lot point to one of the teachers on Recess, but apparently this isn't her. Others suggested she could be an original character, or even from an obscure comic or children's book. There are many similar looking characters in cartoons such as Recess or even Phineas and Ferb, but this specific character it seems hasn't been identified. Low budget sci-fi movie that reused Star Wars ship models. I'm pretty sure Star Wars knockoffs, especially in the 80s and 90s, were pretty dime a dozen, right? Like, Star Wars was huge back then, so finding this obscure sci-fi movie that this OP had seen at a Blockbuster in the late 90s, using Star Wars ships, it's gonna be a hard one to track down. They did give some additional details though, such as what the ships looked like, as well as the exact Blockbuster location. But it seems it was still not enough. Some great suggestions were thrown out, such as Turkish Star Wars, classic, as well as Spaceballs, Space Raiders, Space Mutiny. Honestly, sort of infinite possibilities with this one. Unknown 2010s meme gif. This one's pretty interesting because this guy went deep in this explanation trying to locate this supposed gif from the 2010s, including a very detailed breakdown as well as even a live demonstration. The post reads, quote, "Since I can't draw, this is the best way I can visually show it from my memory. The GIF was actually from a stick figure. The idea is the stick figure is continuously making a mind-blowing realization about life. This realization is so big, so earth-shattering that the character is having a panic attack while having this realization, hence the grabbing of the head. But it always ends with the stick figure calming down saying, 'Whew, thank God,' is what I said at the end. I can't remember exactly, but the reason why the character is squatting is because the caption said, 'Life is like one big, deep squat,' is the analogy being used. Something like, life hurts until it's the worst pain imaginable, but the pain is then over once you get up. I'm not sure. All I know is that it could be the worst pain imaginable was a part of the bottom text of the meme. I feel like I'm the only person on earth who remembers this GIF. I saw it when I was like 10 to 12, and it was when the internet was new. It probably got taken down by its creators on whatever website I saw it on at the time. Today it would be very similar to the always has been meme. It's about a character making a brain-shattering realization about something. Here is the demonstration of said meme. Despite all this, it appears we're no closer to actually finding what this is. Maybe this will jog someone's memory though. Societas X tape, unknown tracks. This is another Lost Wave situation, a mixtape from the group Boards of Canada, who will again appear later on in this list. And admittedly, I only know of them from the Sinister soundtrack, but they absolutely killed it with that. The best horror movie soundtrack of all time, honestly. But anyway, back on track here, the mixtape apparently has a lot of tracks which remain unidentified, due to most of them being from other artists. The full thing can be found on YouTube in a 2-hour video which was first aired on NTS in June of 2019. Most of the tracks have since been identified, but I believe a few are still unknown. Tier 6. Movie about a guy who murders other women in order to make the perfect woman. Well, yeah, that basically describes it, although the description of the Tip of My Tongue post further elaborates. Quote, "The movie is about a guy whose mother is addicted to physical exercises. I think he was a chubby boy and she would always roast him due to being fat. He and his mother had the habit of looking at other women, however she would always complain about some feature they had that she found ugly. He grows up and starts killing women and taking their most beautiful parts and sewing them together to make a perfect woman." Sounds like a pretty disturbing movie. A few suggestions were thrown out, such as Maniac, Frankenhooker, Silence of the Lambs, or even an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Criminal Minds, but the OP has not since confirmed or denied most of these, although they did say their mother was the one who watched it, and said they would check with her. She never got back with an answer, but did say the synopsis so far matched perfectly with Maniac 2012. Horror movie with only one image. Sounds like a fire title for a YouTube video. I would definitely click, to be honest. But this post isn't actually saying the movie only had one image. They're just saying this is all they have to hopefully identify the film. Again, it's from the 80s, most likely possibly 85 or 88, as suggested by the OP. But most of the ideas in the comments were eventually shut down by the OP, and the post is now locked with the case still remaining open. A 60s garage band composed of only girls. Quote, "A 60s garage band composed of only girls, whose name, coincidentally, is the same as another more famous band. On my search for the band, I found one named She. The band sounds very similar to the one I'm looking for." They then link a song from 1980 called Outer Reach. There were a ton of suggestions in the comments, but none were confirmed by the OP, from the Shags to Ladybirds, Runaways, The Puppets, Fanny, or even an earlier iteration of the band She, which was originally called Id. How long will it take? This one here had a deep dive done by YouTuber Shy Valley, who also does great Lost Media and generally interesting internet media videos, so check out his video if you want the full story of this search, but today the song has been found. Initially it just started as a small snippet of a song known as How Long Will It Take that was said to be an Irish song from the early 2000s or late 90s, which was later identified as How Long by Paula Toledo. Come Back to Me. And capping off this tier, we have a Lost Wave found in an obscure compilation according to this poster on the Lost Wave subreddit, which is a remix of Your Eyes / Come Back to Me.
And every moment that I'm living, I think of...
Tier 7. Knockoff movie about bees. Despite a couple theories and suggestions, it appears this one has still not been found, as the OP has since gone inactive. although they did post a fairly interesting story about their encounter with this movie on the Tip of My Tongue subreddit. Quote, "Hello everyone, let me tell you guys a story of a potential lost media I remember from my youth. The following story happened years ago and my memory is really fuzzy, but I will try my best to give as much info as possible. I'm from Mexico and went to a private school in my elementary and middle school. Both were conjoined into one. When I was in about 3rd or 4th grade, around 2010 or 2011, a black bus came into our school's parking lot to show us a movie/video. We were in the middle of class when the teacher said we had to go outside to watch something. We all went outside and a black bus was there parked in the middle of the parking lot. We were in the hot baking sun for a good half hour until they let us in. After struggling to fit every single one of us in, 20 students or so, we sat down and started seeing the movie. The movie was a crappy B-movie knockoff, something in line with the infamous Video Brinquedo. The animation was awful, it had poor renders, the bees looked creepy and barely emote, and the animation was stilted AF. I could not remember anything of the plot. It was some sort of main bee defeats the evil dictator bee to impress a girl bee type movie. I sat there with a friend of mine while watching this pile of banana, and he was telling me how it takes a lot of skill to make a movie like this. I was just confused by what he meant. The only scene I can remember vividly is the following. After the end credits, the main girl bee gives a kiss on the cheek to the main bee protagonist, leading him to fluster. That is the only scene I remember from this thing, aside from random blurry screen caps my brain saved from this thing. The movie was really short, I don't think we lasted more than 30 minutes. After it was done, absolutely no one commented on it. No one brought it up again. No teachers or classmates talked about it. The bus went away that same day and never came back. I stayed in that private school from 2007 to 2017. The years passed, and last year I buried this memory for years, until last year when it randomly popped into my head, and now I keep thinking of it. I am aware of the large market of knockoff animated movies, mainly the one from Video Brinquedo and other similar companies, and yes, the animation looked on par with something made from them. I managed to find 2 knockoff B movies though. Little B by Video Brinquedo and Plan B made by some other garbage studio. I saw them to see if anything matched my memories, and not only do the character designs not match with what I remember, the kiss on the cheek scene is not present in both movies. Now I want to get the record straight, this is not a Mandela effect or anything of the sort. I know what I saw. But if there is anyone who's an expert in finding lost media, it's the internet, so that's why I'm trying to reach out to you guys. So why do I want to find this crappy B movie absolutely only me remembers? I don't know what weird Russian experiment that black bus did to us, but I want to know if anyone reading this remembers something like this happening to them at their school. I want to find this movie just for the funny novelty really, and so I can get this movie out of my mind. If you guys have any questions, I will be happy of answering them in the comments. Cheers. Wow, yeah, that was a lot. And despite this being a pretty big post, there aren't that many comments, although there are still a few more suggestions such as B-Team, Hermie and Friends, Buzzbee the Misbehaving Bee, or The Hive, but it seems the OP didn't confirm any of these. Unidentified claymation show. Okay, time for a weird one, and shockingly one that's actually been solved. It involves a TOMT post which details a very strange claymation about a creepy woman that kills a worm inside an apple using a syringe while having a deep and creepy smile, possibly from the 70s or 80s. Apologies for the pronunciation here, but I think this is it right here. Saba Vargas Augusta, a Hungarian children's claymation program, just as creepy as the story makes it out to be. Nickelodeon hamster wheel incident. So this might actually be the weirdest post on here. I'm just gonna read this entire Reddit post word for word because it honestly sounds too insane to be true, like a creepypasta even. Quote, when I was about 16, I came home from hanging out with my friends. I was a huge cartoon fan, still am. Grabbed some food and settled into my bed to watch Nickelodeon. I knew it was Nick because it was the last channel I watched that day and no one shared the TV in my room. So I turned it on to see this creepy black, white, and gray scene where hundreds of nude humans are walking in a line over these hills in the background towards these giant hamster wheels in the front of the scene. they're walking towards the wheels as a few people are already in the wheels, walking endlessly and mindlessly in this robotic, zombie-like state. The people walking towards the wheels are also in this similar state, as if there is no life within their eyes. They're just cold/robotic. There's this wind-like noise whistling in the background. It looks real, not animated, and as I watch in awe at this dark scene, I come to a similar conclusion and ask myself why Nick would have something so live and non-action, really, as the entire scene keeps just repeating itself, of more humans walking towards and in these hamster wheels. I start thinking maybe it's just some weird short and it's kinda cool in a dark sort of way, but minutes go by and it starts to get dull watching this same scene not doing anything else, so I quickly change the channel to something else when in a split second I realize, wait a minute, what the f did I just watch? And change it back immediately, only to find SpongeBob on mid-episode. You could tell SpongeBob was on for a while, not like the weird shot played first and it just came on or anything. Freaked out, I kept going back to surrounding channels thinking maybe it wasn't actually on Nick, but nothing had the hamster wheel video on. I've tried to research what this was for years and never been able to find anything remotely similar. Not sure if this was some sort of broadcast interference or something out of this world, but if anyone has any information / a logical explanation, I would greatly appreciate it. Unfortunately, there wasn't much people could think of for this in the comments. Someone even suggested it could have been the OP's dream, which is this point might be the most likely answer because this is just wild. If this isn't a creepypasta, this had to just be a dream because there's no way this was on Nick, right? Or was it? Boards of Canada live performance, unidentified tracks. More Boards of Canada lost media. These I believe are some unknown tracks that were played live, some of which have been found and identified, and others which are still unknown to this day. Not really much to say about this. Trip to Rio. Here we've got yet another unknown song, also from the 80s, found on a cassette tape. The description of the video says the band may have been called Bass Bazaar or Bates Bazaar, and the song could be titled Trip to Rio. Tier 8. Minecraft knockoff featuring a disturbing entity. Again, another great title for a video. It's scratching my YouTuber brain itch, but this one doesn't actually have that much info on it. All there is a Lost Media Wiki forum post talking about an obscure Minecraft knockoff that was possibly a Flash game from 2014 to 2015 that had a disturbing entity called the God of Blank that appeared while they were collecting wood in game. Almost about a year after this initial post with little traction, user BoneClone did find this mobile game called Block Story with an NPC called Source of Life, which honestly kind of fits the bill with this. Sounds similar enough to God of Blank. I'm willing to bet this is actually it, but I guess unless the OP returns to this dead discussion, we'll never know for sure. Abraham Lincoln Pizzeria Orlando commercial. This is another Lost Media Wiki forum post, one that was featured also in a video by Shy Valley. The OP describes the commercial as such, quote, "Back in September 2014, I went to Orlando. While I was in my hotel room, I recall seeing an ad on the TV that was for some Abraham Lincoln themed pizza place. It was named something similar to him. In the ad, it was just like any other pizza commercial, showing different kinds that they serve, and Lincoln's face would show up on the screen at random points, like overlaying a pizza. I could be totally way off, but this is what I remember from almost 9 years ago now. However, ever since then, whenever I'd try to search for it online, I can't find it. Not only that, but I could never find any pizza place that has anything to do with Abraham via Google Maps in these years that I've looked. So as uninteresting as this sounds, I would like to see this ad again, since it'd be pretty nostalgic, and would also like to know what in the world this pizza place is even called and where it was at. However, despite the post gaining a bit of traction after being featured in Shaz's video, it appears as though the commercial is still lost to time. Elsagate video with a poison apple. Yet another Lost Media Wiki forum post here talking about a specific Elsagate video they remember. You know, those weird kids videos usually involving kid-friendly characters like Spider-Man and Elsa, usually doing some pretty weird and oftentimes disturbing things on YouTube Kids videos. Yeah, well, this OP describes one such video. Quote, Back during the Elsagate rabbit hole of YouTube controversy, there was this odd video about Elsa eating a poison apple. All I remember is that Maleficent gave Elsa the apple, Spider-Man calling Dr. Captain America, no joke, Captain America is a doctor in the Elsagate video, this one scene where Captain America trips on the poison apple, hitting Spider-Man on the head, and the ending where Maleficent gets frustrated and everyone dances in her lair. Did everyone know about this crazy video that I'm talking about? After this, another user inquires about the name of the channel, to which the OP replies something along the lines of ElsaDude2927, which is pretty specific, but they also talk about how it was in a compilation video that also had a pink Spider-Man. But this didn't really move the search forward, although someone did manage to find a video on Dailymotion called Spider-Man and Frozen Elsa vs. Evil Queen Elsa Eats a Poisoned Apple, Superhero Fun in Real Life. No Captain America, but this could very well be the video, although we don't have any confirmation on that. Woman stabbing her stomach to fit in a dress music video. Pretty crazy one to end it on, a TOMT post called Extremely Disturbing, woman stabbing her stomach to fit in a dress. Quote, "Hey Reddit, there is a certain music video that I saw only once on TV as a child, and it has traumatized me for life. I've been unable to locate it and I've been searching for years. So I saw this on TV in the mid-2000s. I believe I also saw the music video for Tatu's All the Things She Said that same day. If you need a reference point for a precise time frame, that song was relatively new, so the song in question sounded like house music, with the lines, 'Ooh, tonight's the night' being repeated over and over. The video is in black and white and features a woman who is apparently preparing for a date. Her apartment is filled with hanging dolls. I think some of them were disfigured, covered in barbed wire or stabbed with knives. The woman is unable to fit into a dress, so she proceeds to stab herself in the stomach with a knife in order to get rid of her fat and fit into the dress. I believe in the end she bleeds out in the tub and dies. This video haunted me as a child and was so blatantly featured on television in the middle of the day. What disturbed me the most was that I was a chubby child, and kind of got the message through this video that the only way society would accept me was to be thin or kill myself like the lady in the video. Any information would help, as I would really like to research into this, if there was any backlash regarding the music video, and if there were other instances of people such as myself who were emotionally impacted by this. Edit/update. So there were lots of great suggestions, but we still were not able to find it. However, it is amazing how this same theme appears numerous times in multiple music videos. So what I know definitely happened in the video is I saw that the woman had dolls around her apartment, disfigured, hanging with barbed wires or giant nails embedded into them. She actually was able to put on the dress, but it was too tight, so she proceeded to stab herself repeatedly in the stomach, no skin peeling. The stabbing was done, I believe, while the dress was on her and blood was shown coming out through the dress. As pointed out by the OP, some people in the comments pointed out a few music videos with similar themes, and even a short film called Miss Anity from the Crib TV monster universe. However, the case still remains open to this day.